This girl is playing with her camera. In her eyes, the clouds are cute little bunnies or bears. But at the moment she pressed the shutter, two cars collided. A kindly neighbor told the girl if she pressed the shutter button of her camera, it would cause a series of accidents. The girl took a lot of pictures and ended up on TV that night. There was a fire somewhere, 2 truck derailments and a plane crash. This once made the girl deeply worried, feelings of guilt inside, but in the end the girl found out it was just a neighbor playing a trick on her. To get back at the neighbor, climbed on the roof of her house while the neighbor was watching the football game. The neighbor's frantic scene. At one point, the girl was in a very happy mood. This dark girl's name was Emily. One day, a few months later, tragedy struck when her mother took Emily to pray. A tourist seeking death jumped from the roof of a building and hit Emily's mother right on the head. After her mother's death, Emily and her father were left to fend for themselves, and her father was in constant grief over the loss of his wife. He became less and less concerned about Emily. The oppressive atmosphere gradually made Emily breathless. The first thing Emily did when she grew up was to move out of the house. She worked at a coffee shop. Emily would go to the movies on Friday nights, but Emily's favorite thing is when the movie is at its best, looking back at the audience's faces. Sometimes Emily would also be naughty at the supermarket, plunging her hand into the deepest part of the cereal bag, or on a leisurely afternoon, to take a few dips in the canal, even though it's just one person. Emily is very happy with her life now. Emily enjoys secretly watching her neighbor. She nicknamed him Mr. Glass because he seemed so afraid of falling. He had everything in his house covered with soft cushions. He was always at home painting behind closed doors. I thought Emily could always immersed in her own world until this day. Something happened that changed Emily's fate. Emily heard the news of Princess Dana's accidental death. The bottle cap in Emily's hand unconsciously fell to the ground. It led Emily to a small hole. She found a metal box inside. Emily blew away the dust and opened it. Inside was a photo of a long time ago and some boy's treasures. That night, Emily had a sudden thought. If she could return this treasure to its rightful owner, what would the owner's face look like? Emily heard from an old man. She found out the name of the owner of the box and found out from the phone book all the people with this name. Emily visited them one by one, but none of them was the person she was looking for. It was not until a neighbor, Mr. Glass, prompted her. Emily met the owner of the iron box about how to exchange the box. Emily had already thought of a plan. She waited for the man on his daily route, waiting for the man to pass by. The phone at the newsstand suddenly rang. The man was curious and went inside, but when he picked up the phone, there was no sound inside. When the man looked down for a moment, suddenly found the iron box containing his childhood dreams, and Emily was always not far away, surreptitiously watching the man everything. The moment the box was opened, memories came like a tidal wave, the good things of the past. The man could not help but tear up. He felt that he must have met an angel. This gave Emily's world a touch more color. She decided to use her power to help more people, and the first one is the father who was immersed in the grief of his late wife. Emily secretly took away her father's Santa Claus in memory of her mother, but as a result, Emily missed the last train. Emily had to spend the night in the photo booth at the station, but the next day, Emily meets a strange man. This man was lying in front of the photo booth, sneaking around. A girl passing by suddenly sees him and her heart races. She thinks she's met her true love, but the man hurriedly pushed the girl away towards a bald man and chased after him. Emmy followed closely behind. Seeing the bald man driving away, Nino also got on the heel motorcycle. Due to Taiji dropped a package halfway, just in time to be seen by the catching up Emily. Inside was a photo album. The photo album was covered with destroyed ID photos. For the first time, Emily became curious about other people. Why was that man chasing that bald guy? What was the purpose of this album? After returning to the cafe where she worked, Emily started to help people again. She started to bring together 2 people who were hurting for love. She comes to Joey's side. She says that the lady who owns the cigarette store has been secretly watching him. The owner's wife was obviously interested in him. Immediately afterwards, Emily then secretly told the cigarette store owner's wife. She said that Joey insisted on coming to the store every day, not for his ex-girlfriend at all, just want to see her in this way, and the proof was sitting in Joey's seat, right across from the cigarette store. So the 2 unrelated people in Emily's setup gradually began to get closer. They quickly fall in love. seeing her father again. Emily inadvertently mentioned the disappeared Santa Claus, and her father just took out a picture. Said it was sent to her by Santa Claus. She was traveling around the world. She wanted her father, who had been bored at home for a long time, to go out and see it too. Father felt very strange, but in the days to come, father received the photos more and more often. He began to wonder, was it really his dead wife wanted him to go on a trip? Of course he didn't know. All this was done by a stewardess at the request of Emmy. That day, Amelie found Nino's lost property notice at the station. Emmy couldn't resist tearing out a list and taking it home. If she were a normal girl, she would have called Nino and asked him to meet her immediately, and return the photo album, and then take the opportunity to get to know each other so as to develop a relationship. But Emily is obviously not a normal girl. Emily found the place where Nino worked. She found out from a woman. Nino is not here now. He's working part-time at an amusement park. In order to meet Nino, Emily found this amusement park, but it was still early for Nino to leave work. Emily had to pay to go to a haunted house. Nino happened to be playing an NPC here. Her fingertips crossed Emily's cheeks. She was not only not afraid, instead, she was a bit engrossed. When Nino got off work, he found a picture on his bike. There was a message on the back. Do you want your photo album back? If so, see you tomorrow at the park in the afternoon. This was a mysterious way to return something. Nino was curious about this mysterious person. But the next day, Nino arrived at the park and found that there was no one at the appointed place. Until a woman told Nino there was someone in the phone booth looking for him. The girl imagines herself as a chivalrous Zorro, so she sneaks into someone's house with a stolen key, replacing toothpaste with mustard sauce. Reverse the toilet door handle and add some salt to the wine bottle, and shake it evenly. And then he went to the master's bedroom. Set the alarm clock for 4 a.m. The man is woken up on time. Habitually went to the toilet to wash up, found the door handle was reversed. Although the man was a little confused, but did not care, until the man began to brush his teeth. The man this time let out a pig-like wail. Soon the man went to his store, intending to start the day with a full head of steam. Only then did he realize that the street was empty. The man felt something was wrong. Looking at his watch, was he dreaming? It turns out that the reason why Emily teased this man so much, it was because he was always bullying the little guy in his store. Emily's chivalrous heart naturally will not tolerate. After telling off the mean vegetable stall owner, Emily rushed to the park where she had agreed with Nino. But it's not Emily's style to show up like this. She puts on her sunglasses and hides in the shadows, guiding Nino by phone, following the arrows on the ground. She kept going to her carefully arranged location. This was interesting to Nino, but the arrows ended and no one was in sight. There was a telescope nearby. Nino was curious and tried it out. It turned out that a woman had returned the album to him, but Emily had no intention of staying. Nino realized that he had been fooled and rushed back, but it was still too late. Emily was already far away. Nino opened the album. There were some pictures of Emily's antics. There was also a message on it. Do you want to meet me? For the first time, Nino met her match. He was full of affection for this quirky girl. In order to give Nino a clue to find himself, Emily put on a new outfit, come to the photo booth in the car, took a set of photos by herself. But just as Emily was about to leave, but found the bald head Nino has been looking for. Now the secret that Nino wanted to know so much. Finally, Emily knew. Soon after, Nino lived up to the expectations of the photo booth underground. He found the clue left to him by Lemire. He put the torn photos back together. He found out that Emily set their next meeting place at the coffee shop where she works. Nino is happy to go, without realizing it. The first girl he met upon entering was the one he was looking for. Emily longed for Nino to recognize her, but she's afraid, so she hides in the back and watches. Nino mustered up the courage to ask Emily, is it the mysterious woman in the photo? Emily didn't have the courage to admit it. She shook her head and ran away, but she still wrote a note for her colleague to put in Nino's pocket. It said that Nino should go to a photo booth. When Nino arrived, he found a pair of red canvas shoes. Inside was the bald head that Nino had been interested in. Now Nino finally understood. The man who left his picture all over the city. There was no complicated story as he thought. Just an ordinary maintenance worker. The doubts in his mind were finally uncovered. Nino was overjoyed. Emily had the courage to go to see Nino. When a train separated the two of them. When the train passed, Nino had already disappeared. Emily thought they were not destined to meet. She was so pessimistic that she wanted to give up. When she returned home, there was a sudden ringing at the door. It turns out that Nino has been found. Emily's colleague. He found out that the person who wrote the note was Emily. That's why he came here. Emily was still afraid to open the door. She had been alone for too long and did not have the courage to destroy the current state of life. They tried to find each other. They listened for a long time through a door, but no movement. Nino was the first to lose his temper, left a note saying he would come back tomorrow, and left. Looking at Nino's back, Emily was a bit regretful, but when Nino suddenly looked back, Emily instinctively hid again. At that moment, Emily received a call from Mr. Glass. She followed the directions to Mr. Glass's house. There was a gift for her. When she opened it, it was a recorded video. With Mr. Glass's encouragement, Emily suddenly understood that happiness does not depend on fate. It's her own courage. Emily bravely chased after her, but when she opened the door, Nino was already standing outside the door. Nino tried to speak but was stopped by Emily. The two of them came inside. There is nothing more than a deep kiss to show their love for each other. Amelie is no longer alone with her love. Father let go of the knot and went on a trip. Good and beautiful people don't stay alone forever. Our courage will guide us to find our own happiness. This is the entire content of today's movie. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.